The man screamed before the gun even fired. Please, please, Chairman Jang, I swear it wasn't me. Jang Tae-Won didn't blink. The warehouse smelled of oil and fear. His men stood still, watching him the way men watched storms, silent, respectful, afraid. Tae-Won rolled his sleeves once, slow, deliberate, then stepped closer to the kneeling man. You stole from me, Tae-Won said calmly. I didn't. The gun went off. The sound cracked through the warehouse, sharp and final. Blood splattered the concrete. The man collapsed sideways, twitching once before going still. No one spoke. Tae-Won handed the gun to Min Jae-sung without looking at him. Clean this. Yes, sir. As Tae-Won turned away, his phone vibrated. He checked the screen, irritation flickering across his face. Another resignation. He exhaled through his nose. How many is that this month? Jae-sung hesitated. 10, sir. Tae-Won stopped walking. 10, he repeated quietly. Yes, 10 assistants. 10 women. 10 who had sworn they could handle him. 10 who had lasted days, some hours, before breaking, crying, or running. Useless, Tae-Won muttered. They said you were too intense, Jae-sung added carefully. Tae-Won laughed once, humorless. That's the job. He stepped into his car, shutting the door hard. As the engine started, his jaw tightened. I don't need someone fragile, he said. Find me someone who doesn't scare easily. Jae-sung nodded. I may know someone. Tae-Won glanced at him. You've said that before. This one isn't polished, Jae-sung replied. She survived worse than you. Tae-Won leaned back in his seat, eyes dark. Bring her. Riva Moreno arrived 30 minutes late. The office went silent the moment she walked in. She didn't rush, didn't bow, didn't apologize. She walked straight to the receptionist's desk and said, Tell Chairman Jang I'm here. The receptionist blinked. You're late. I know. That's unacceptable. Riva smiled faintly. Then fire me. The receptionist stared speechless, then scrambled to call upstairs. Minutes later, Riva stood inside Tae-Won's private office. He didn't look up. Silence stretched. Most people broke under it. Riva didn't. She glanced around, unimpressed, then said, You should fire whoever organized this schedule. Tae-Won's pen stopped. You booked 3 meetings back-to-back without buffer time, she continued. That's inefficient, and your security detail overlaps shifts. Waste of money. Finally, he looked at her. She met his gaze without flinching. You're late, he said. You're intimidating, she replied. Looks like we're even. Jae-sung stiffened. Tae-Won studied her slowly. You're not afraid. I've been afraid before, Riva said. This isn't it. A pause. Why should I keep you? Tae-Won asked. She shrugged. Because I won't quit. He leaned forward. Everyone quits. Then you've been hiring the wrong people. For the first time in weeks, Tae-Won smiled. Sit, he ordered. Riva didn't move. I prefer to stand. His smile widened. You don't follow instructions. I follow logic. Jae-sung held his breath. Tae-Won nodded once. You start today. That night, everything went wrong. A critical dinner, investors from overseas. One mistake could cost Tae-Won millions. Then one of the men laughed. We heard you're unstable, Chairman Jang, the investor said. No family, no anchor. Riva, seated quietly beside Tae-Won, felt the shift instantly. Tae-Won's jaw tightened. She leaned in and whispered, Let me handle it. He turned sharply. No. She stood anyway. Gentlemen, Riva said with a warm smile, slipping her hand around Tae-Won's arm, forgive my rudeness. I'm Riva, his fiancée. The room froze. Tae-Won looked at her, stunned. She squeezed his arm lightly. He's not unstable, she continued smoothly. He's disciplined and very committed to his future. The investors exchanged looks. One chuckled. You didn't mention this. He doesn't talk about what he protects, Riva said softly. The deal closed an hour later. In the car, silence thickened. You crossed a line, Tae-Won said. And you closed the deal, Riva replied. He turned to her. You won't do that again. She met his eyes. You'll stop me next time. Something dangerous sparked between them. Over the next weeks, Riva became indispensable. She found the leak in his organization within 3 days. She rewrote his schedule. She spoke to men who feared Taiwan, and they listened. Then, Yura Kwan appeared. You must be the assistant, Yura sneered in the boutique. Playing house already? Riva smiled sweetly. Try again. Yura scoffed. He always gets bored. Riva leaned closer. He gets bored with weak women. Phones came out. The clip went viral. That night, Tae-Won confronted her. You humiliated her. She needed it. You're reckless. You're alive because of it. Silence. Later in his penthouse, the tension snapped. Their argument turned heated. Voices rose. Space closed. He kissed her like a challenge. She kissed back, harder. Then she pushed him away. "This doesn't change anything," she said, breathless. "It changes everything," he replied. "No," Riva said firmly. "I don't belong to you." She walked out. Tae-Won stood alone, shaken. And for the first time in his life, fear crept in. Not of enemies, not of death, but of losing the one person who didn't fear him at all. If you're enjoying this story so far, subscribe, like, and drop a comment, because this is just getting started. Riva didn't come in the next morning. Tae-Won noticed immediately. He sat at his desk, eyes fixed on the door longer than he should have. The office felt louder without her voice cutting through the tension. His phone buzzed with updates, threats, numbers, but none from her. "She quit?" Tae-Won asked flatly. Min Jae-sung shook his head. "No resignation, no message." Tae-Won's jaw tightened. "Find her." Jae-sung hesitated. "Sir, now." Riva was halfway across the city when Tae-Won's car slid to a stop beside her. She didn't slow, the window rolled down. "Get in." "No." The car crept forward, matching her pace. "You don't walk away from me." She stopped abruptly and turned. "I don't belong to you." People on the sidewalk stared. Tae-Won stepped out of the car, his presence alone parting the crowd. "You kissed me," he said. "You pushed first. You wanted it." "I wanted control," Riva snapped. "There's a difference." He moved closer. "Then why run?" She looked up at him, eyes sharp. "Because men like you confuse possession with affection." Something in her tone struck deeper than any insult. "You're wrong," he said quietly. "Am I?" she challenged. "Name one woman who stayed." Silence. Tae-Won stepped back. "Come back to work," she laughed once. "You don't ask." "I am now." She studied him, then sighed. "Fine, but we set rules." "Rules?" he echoed. "I'm your assistant," Riva said. "Not your property, not your toy. Cross that line again and I'm gone." Agreed. The city didn't sleep and neither did trouble. 2 nights later, Tae-Won's convoy was hit. Gunfire erupted at an intersection. Tires screamed. His driver swerved hard. Riva, in the back seat, grabbed the handle. "What's happening?" "Ambush," Jae-sung shouted. Tae-Won pulled Riva down as bullets shattered glass. His body shielded hers without thought. "Stay down," he ordered. She looked up at him, breathless. "You good?" He blinked. No one had asked him that in years. "Yes." They escaped by inches. Back at the safe house, Riva paced. "Your routes are predictable." "You think I don't know that?" "I think you ignore advice," she shot back. "You want to live long enough to rule or die proving a point?" He stared at her. "You're shaking." "Adrenaline," she said, "not fear." He believed her. That night she stayed, not with him, but in the room next door. Yura didn't miss the headlines. She stormed into Tae-Won's office days later, heels sharp, smile venomous. "So it's true," she said. "You replaced me with a street girl." Riva didn't look up from her tablet. "If you're here to reminisce, schedule an appointment." Yura laughed. "You think you're special?" "I know I'm competent." Yura leaned closer to Tae-Won. "She'll leave. They always do." Riva stood slowly. "You left." The room froze. Yura's smile cracked. "He pushed me away." "No," Riva said calmly. "You couldn't handle being seen." Yura slapped her. The sound echoed. Tae-Won moved instantly, but Riva raised a hand, stopping him. She touched her cheek, then looked at Yura. "Get out," Yura sneered. "You don't command me." Riva leaned in. "Watch me." Security escorted Yura out. Tae-Won turned to Riva. "Why stop me?" She met his gaze. "Because I don't need saving." That night, Tae-Won dreamed of her walking away again. The city whispered. Riva tightened operations. Money flowed cleaner. Enemies backed off. Then the leak resurfaced, this time closer. Riva followed the trail alone. She shouldn't have. They cornered her in a parking structure. "You're curious," one man said, knife glinting. Riva raised her hand slowly. "You're sloppy." The punch came fast. She hit the ground hard. Minutes later, Tae-Won arrived like a storm. Gunshots, screams. When it was over, he knelt beside her. "Are you hurt?" he demanded. She winced. "I told you not to be predictable." His hands shook as he helped her up. "You don't do this alone," he said. "You don't own my courage." "I care." He snapped. She froze. "So that's what this is?" she asked quietly. He didn't answer. Later, as she cleaned the blood from her lip, he stood in the doorway. "I don't know how to do this," he admitted. She looked at him. "Then don't do it like everything else." Silence stretched, fragile. If this story is pulling you in, pause for a second. Like the video, subscribe, and comment. It helps this channel grow, and trust me, you don't want to miss what comes next. Riva turned away first. But she didn't leave. And that choice scared Tae-Won more than any enemy ever had. The quiet between them didn't last. It never did. 2 nights later, Riva stood in the war room staring at a screen full of numbers and names, her jaw tight. Someone inside is still feeding information out, and it's not low level. Tae-Won folded his arms. You're sure? I don't guess, she replied. I trace patterns. He studied her face. Then say it. She hesitated. It's someone close to you. The room went still. Min Jae-sung shifted. Be careful. Riva didn't look at him. I am. Tae-Won's voice dropped. Names. She tapped the screen. Your cousin, Jang Seok-min. Jae-sung swore under his breath. That's impossible, Tae-Won said. He grew up with me. And he's drowning in debt, Riva shot back. And desperate men make stupid choices. Tae-Won stared at the screen, something dark tightening in his chest. If you're wrong, I'm not. He turned away sharply. Leave it with me. No, Riva said. You'll confront him emotionally. That'll spook him. Tae-Won looked at her slowly. You think I can't handle my own blood? I think blood makes people blind. Jae-sung glanced between them. She's right. Tae-Won clenched his jaw. Fine. What's your plan? Riva exhaled. We let him think he's winning. Seok-min took the bait. He showed up late to a meeting he wasn't invited to, eyes darting, smile forced. You look tense, Riva said lightly. Everything okay? He laughed. Of course. She slid a folder across the table. Then you won't mind explaining this. The color drained from his face. Tae-Won watched in silence as Seok-min stammered, denied, then broke. I had no choice, Seok-min shouted. They threatened my family. Riva leaned forward. You should have come to him. Seok-min looked at Tae-Won, tears streaking down his face. I was afraid. Tae-Won stood slowly. You should have been. The punishment was swift, controlled, final. When it was done, Tae-Won didn't speak for hours. Riva found him on the balcony that night, city lights flickering below. You okay? She asked. He didn't answer. She stepped closer. You can hate him and still mourn him. He laughed bitterly. You talk like you know. I do, she said quietly. People betray you when you need them most. He turned to her. Who betrayed you? She stiffened. That's not this story. Then tell me when it is. She looked away. Maybe never. He nodded once. I'll wait. That word, wait, sat heavy between them. The threat escalated. A rival syndicate made their move, hitting one of Tae-Won's shipping hubs. Explosions, losses, blood. Riva was on the phone instantly. Pull the west routes. They're baiting you. They're challenging me, Tae-Won snapped. And winning if you react emotionally, she shot back. He slammed his fist on the table. You think I don't know how to fight? I think you're used to winning with fear, she said. This needs strategy. He stared at her. Then lead. She blinked. What? You're better at this than half my men, he said. Take control. The room went silent. Jae-sung raised an eyebrow. Sir. I said take control, Tae-Won repeated. Riva straightened. Then listen carefully. For the next 48 hours, she didn't sleep. She redirected shipments, leaked false information, baited the rival syndicate into exposing their financiers. By the time Tae-Won struck, it was surgical. No explosions, no chaos, just silence. Victory. When it was over, Tae-Won looked at her like he was seeing her for the first time. You didn't just protect me, he said. You protected the Empire. She shrugged weakly. Someone had to. He stepped closer. Why? She met his gaze. Because I chose to. The celebration was short-lived. Riva collapsed in the hallway later that night. Tae-Won caught her before she hit the floor. Riva, she laughed faintly. Guess adrenaline runs out. He carried her to his room without thinking. As she drifted in and out, she murmured, Don't misunderstand. I won't, he said quietly. Rest. When she woke, it was morning. He was sitting nearby, untouched cup of coffee in his hand. You stayed, she said. He nodded. You do that for people who matter. She studied him. Careful. Why? That word scares you. He smiled slightly. So does yours. She sat up slowly. You gave me control yesterday. You earned it. And if I walk away? His expression tightened. Then I lose more than a strategist. She swallowed. I don't stay where I'm owned. You're not, he said immediately. You're chosen. Her breath caught. Before she could respond, Jae-sung knocked sharply and entered. We have a problem. What now? Riva asked. Yura-kwan, Jae-sung said. She's talking. To the press. To rivals. Tae-Won's eyes hardened. I'll handle her. No, Riva said firmly. I will. He frowned. This isn't your mess. She's making it mine, Riva replied, and I won't hide. They found Yura at a private club, draped in silk and spite. So the assistant thinks she's powerful now, Yura sneered. Riva smiled calmly. No, I know I am. Yura laughed. He'll discard you. Riva leaned in, voice steady. He doesn't own me. That's why he won't. Yura's smile faltered. Tae-Won watched from a distance, something in his chest loosening. Later, outside, he said quietly, You didn't need me. Riva nodded. That's the point. He took a breath. Stay. She looked at him. Ask better. He stepped closer. Stay because you want to, not because of me. She considered him for a long moment. I am, she said finally. For now. That was enough, and it terrified him. If you're still with this story, you already know. It's only getting deeper. Make sure you stay till the end and don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment so you don't miss how this choice changes everything. Riva didn't sleep that night. She sat on the edge of the bed in the guest room, phone dark in her hand, mind replaying the way Tae-Won had said stay. Not demanded, not ordered, asked. It unsettled her more than his anger ever had. At dawn, she was already in the office. You're early, Min Jae-sung said, watching her pour coffee like she hadn't been awake for hours. Couldn't shut my brain off. He studied her face. You're changing him. She looked up sharply. I'm not trying to. That's usually how it happens. She didn't answer. The city didn't give them time to breathe. By noon, word came in. One of Tae-Won's silent partners was pulling out. By evening, 2 more followed. Fear spread fast when power shifted quietly. They think you're distracted, Jae-sung said. Tae-Won leaned back in his chair. Let them. Riva shook her head. You can't. He looked at her. Explain. They don't fear stability, she said. They fear uncertainty. Right now, they don't know if you're evolving or weakening. His eyes narrowed. And what do you suggest? She met his gaze. We show them both. That night, Tae-Won hosted a private gathering. No press, no outsiders, just power in one room. Riva stood beside him, not behind. One of the men smirked. You've gone quiet lately, Chairman Jang. Tae-Won smiled calmly. Silence is efficient. Another laughed, or hesitant. Riva stepped forward before Tae-Won could respond. You're confusing noise with strength. The room stilled. Careful, the man warned. She smiled. Careful is why he's still standing. Murmurs spread. Tae-Won watched her closely, something like pride flickering across his face. The message landed. By morning, the partners were back in line, but not everyone accepted the shift. Riva received the call while reviewing contracts. A soft voice. You don't remember me, do you? Her hand froze. Who is this? She asked carefully. A pause. Then you left me behind. The line went dead. Riva stared at the phone, chest tight. Tae-Won noticed immediately. What happened? Nothing, she said too quickly. He stood. That wasn't nothing, she exhaled. My past doesn't stay buried. He softened his tone. Then let me help, she shook her head. You don't fix this. Then let me stand with you. She looked at him, eyes searching. And if it destroys me, then I stay anyway. The words settled deep. 2 days later, the threat surfaced. A name, a face, a man from Riva's past, someone she'd crossed years ago to survive. They want leverage, Jae-sung said grimly. And you're it. Tae-Won's voice went cold. Move her to a safe house. Riva straightened. No, that's not a request, he snapped. And this isn't your call, she fired back. Hiding gives them power. They'll hurt you, he said. She stepped closer. I've been hurt before. Silence fell. Finally, Tae-Won said quietly, Then we do it your way. The meeting was set in an abandoned office block. Riva walked in alone. The man smiled when he saw her. You look powerful now. I am, she replied. That's why this ends today. He laughed. You think he won't turn on you? He doesn't own me. He will. She didn't flinch. No, because I won't let him. Shots rang out before the man could respond. Tae-Won's men flooded the building. The trap closed. When it was over, Riva stood amid the wreckage, hands shaking. Tae-Won reached her first. You okay? She nodded, then broke. Not crying, laughing, breathless, raw. It's done, she said. He pulled her into his chest without asking. She didn't resist. That night, they sat on the balcony again, city humming below. I don't want to lose you, he said quietly. She looked at him. Then don't cage me. I won't. And don't save me. He smiled faintly. That might be harder. She leaned into him. Try. For the first time, the future didn't feel like a threat. It felt like a choice. And if you've stayed this far, you already know. Choices are where everything changes. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment, because the final chapter decides what they become. The morning light crept into the penthouse quietly, like it knew better than to announce itself. Riva woke first. She lay still for a moment, listening to the city below, aware of the solid warmth beside her. Tae-Won was asleep on the couch, one arm draped over his eyes, jacket still on. He hadn't tried to come to her room. He hadn't crossed that line. That mattered. She stood, pulled on her clothes, and went to the balcony. The city looked different when you weren't running from it, when you weren't just surviving. "You're up early," Tae-Won said behind her. "You never really sleep," she replied. He joined her, handing her a cup of coffee without asking how she took it. She noticed. "You remembered. I pay attention." She nodded. "That's dangerous." "For you?" he asked lightly. "For me," she corrected. "Getting used to someone staying." He studied her. "I'm not temporary." She looked at him then, really looked. "Neither am I." The announcement shook the city. Riva stood in front of a room full of cameras, her voice steady, her posture relaxed. Tae-Won watched from the side, hands clasped behind his back, saying nothing. "I'm launching a platform," Riva said, "focused on giving street-level talent access to funding, mentorship, and legal protection." A reporter scoffed. "Backed by Chairman Jang?" Riva smiled slightly. "Backed by myself." Murmurs spread. Another voice cut in. "Then what's your relationship with him?" She didn't hesitate. "We work together. We challenge each other, and we choose each other daily." Tae-Won felt something loosen in his chest. Afterward, in the elevator, he said quietly, "You didn't need me there." "I wanted you there," she replied. "Difference." He nodded. Success came fast, too fast for some. Riva's platform exploded. Investments poured in, stories surfaced, kids who'd never had a chance suddenly had one. And with every headline, Tae-Won watched her step further into her own power. One night, he finally said it. "You don't need me anymore." She didn't look up from her tablet. "That's not a question." He swallowed. "Then why stay?" She set the tablet down and faced him. "Because wanting someone isn't weakness." He exhaled slowly. "Say that again." She stepped closer to him. "I want you, not because I have to, because I choose to." That was the moment he knew. Not when she saved his empire. Not when she stood up to his enemies, but when she stayed without chains. 6 months later, Tae-Won stood on the same balcony where he once watched the city alone. Riva joined him, tying her hair back. "You're quiet. I've been thinking. That's usually when things get intense," she teased. He reached into his pocket and stopped. Hesitated. She noticed immediately. "What is it?" "I don't want to trap you," he said. "I don't want to own you." Her eyes softened. "Then don't." He took a breath. "I don't promise safety or perfection. I promise honesty and space and loyalty." He knelt, not dramatically, not to perform, but because it felt right. "Stay with me," he said, "as my partner, in every way that matters." Riva laughed quietly, emotional but steady. "You didn't even ask me to marry you." "I'm asking you to choose me," he replied. "The rest can follow." She knelt too, meeting him eye to eye. "I already did." 2 years later, the city barely recognized them. Riva's company was everywhere. Not just money, impact, real change. Tae-Won had stepped back, quietly dismantling the parts of his empire built on fear, rebuilding the rest on structure and strategy. They weren't untouchable, they were balanced. At a private dinner, Min Jae-sung raised a glass. "I've never seen him like this," Riva smiled. "Me neither." Tae-Won leaned toward her. "You ruined me." She smirked. "I improved you." He laughed, genuine and unguarded. Later that night, as they walked home hand in hand, he said, "You know they used to fear me." "They still do," she replied. "They just respect you now." "And you?" She stopped walking and turned to him. "I don't fear you. I trust you." That was everything. The city buzzed around them, dangerous, alive, unforgiving. But for the first time, neither of them was alone in it. And if you made it to the end of this story, you already know. This wasn't about power or romance alone. It was about choice, growth, and finding strength in standing side by side. If this story moved you, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and leave a comment. Your support helps bring more stories like this to life.